Brooklyn Nets. Last year, they were 45-37, 6th in the West, and they got swept in the first round by the Philadelphia 76ers. This team is very, very, very interesting. I actually like the build of this team, though, because looking at the depth chart, their starting lineup is Spencer Dinwiddie, Mikal Bridges, Dorian Finney-Smith, Royce O'Neal, and Nick Claxton. At least that's what I have down right here. That can definitely change, but that's what I have written down, or typed down, I guess you could say. Dennis Smith Jr., Lonnie Walker, Cam Johnson, Ben Simmons, Darius Baisley, and then Armani Brooks, Cam Thomas, Dariq Whitehead, Trent Watford, and Daron Sharp. This Nets team is really a bunch of really good role players, some players that their teams gave up on, and some projects. Or not really projects, I guess. I should say young guys. But it's very interesting. I guess the first guy I should talk about, first thing I should talk about is really what happened last year. We all know the story, or at least if you don't know, now I'm going to tell you. They had the big three all the way from back in 2021. They lost in the second round to the Bucks after KD's foot was on the line. And also the James Harden and Kyrie Irving injuries. They came back the next year. James Harden wasn't happy, so they traded him mid-season to the Sixers. They got swept by the Celtics in the first round, and both times they lost. They both lost to teams that went on to make the finals, which is actually wild. And then the next offseason, KD requested a trade to the Suns specifically, but they weren't able to get a deal done. They played into the season and kept going until the trade deadline. Kyrie Irving all of a sudden gets traded to the Mavericks out of nowhere. And KD then requests a trade, gets traded to the Suns. And boom, now you're left with Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Spencer Dinwiddie, and a bunch of other random role players. And Ben Simmons, of course. So, they went on, lost most of their games for the rest of the season, but still remained as the 6th seed because of how good they were for the first half of the season. And they got swept by the Sixers in round 1. And now you have this team with this man. This is a crazy, crazy, crazy team. Of course, the most interesting player on this team is Ben Simmons. It's not even the best player on the team. It's Ben Simmons. Because Ben Simmons, he's had a crazy journey throughout his career so far. Came into Philly as the number 1 pick. Amazing prodigy. He, of course, was injured his first year, but he came in his second year. Or his second, technically it was rookie year, but it's complicated. He came into the league, won Rookie of the Year, started playing amazing, made 2 All-Star games, and then 2021 happened. Against the Hawks, he passed out of the dunk, he sold, and then a lot of the weight for losing the series, or a lot of the blame for losing the series, really went on Ben Simmons, when it didn't need to exactly go on Ben Simmons, but he got blamed heavily for it. And eventually, he didn't play any games because of the mental stress that came from losing so badly. He came back the next year, or he didn't come back the next year. They traded him to the Nets, and he didn't even come and play for the rest of that year. He came back the next year, played with Kyrie and KD, and he did not look like himself. He was passing up everything. You could tell he was still affected by what happened to him in Philly. And now he comes into his second year on the Nets, technically his third, but really his second year playing for the Nets. And a lot of people have given up hope in Ben Simmons because it's reasonable. He used to be an amazing player, one of the greatest players, or not greatest, best players in the league, an all-star caliber player. And then he fell off, and the mental toll went on him. He wasn't playing like himself anymore, and he just became a role player. And now, most guys are like giving up hope, like I said, but some people are actually thinking Ben Simmons could have a comeback where he comes this year, plays amazing, and helps this Nets team actually win some games. And I'm gonna say the possibility is there, but I really don't know what to think, because Ben Simmons he's at his peak. He was one of the best defensive players in the NBA and a really good offensive player, honestly. He can get to the basket. He had a decent mid-range shot. He couldn't shoot threes, but he could do just about everything else. And now, if he can even get back to that form, this Nets team is looking scary. But that's a huge if, because we don't know what Ben Simmons we're gonna get. The past few years have been rough for him, man, and they had to take a toll on him. So I guess we'll see what happens. But I'm not placing any bets on Ben Simmons to be good this year. I'm just gonna let him be him. If he's good, bet. If he's not as good as he was in Philly, bet. I just want him to play basketball, and I want him to be good, of course. I want him to succeed, but I'm not placing any unrealistic expectations on him. Because if you put unrealistic expectations, especially on a guy like Ben Simmons, you're just gonna get disappointed a lot of the time. Because we really shouldn't be putting unrealistic expectations on these players, especially with the mental toll that the game takes on them a lot of times, especially with the fans and everything. Sometimes you just gotta give these guys a break, man, because it's rough out here. It is really rough out here. But yeah, the Brooklyn Nets, Ben Simmons, I don't know what to expect. We'll see what happens. Hopefully he's good, but aside from Ben, you got Mikal Bridges, Brooklyn Bridges as they call him nowadays, and the question is, how good can he be? Of course, he had a great end of the year run last year, where he was averaging 20 in a lot of those games, or at least 20 for, like, in the time he played with the Nets, I'm pretty sure he averaged 20, and he was cooking. People was calling him Brooklyn Bridges. He was doing that was way too close to the camera. He was doing that celebration. They added in 2K, that was kind of cool. But yeah, Mikal Bridges is a guy who has been looked at now to be the best player on this team and really the rising star, even though he's not that young. I guess not rising star, just like the leader of this team, really. And a lot of people have him in all-star discussions for this upcoming season, and maybe even not most improved, but all-star discussions. And I mean, the possibility is there, but we can't put too many expectations on him after we've only seen him play at the end of the year last year. After an off-season together, I bet this team definitely might be at least a little bit different from what they were doing last year, because last year they lost a lot of their end of the season games because they kind of just got thrown into a situation with a bunch of new players in the mix who they got back in return for those two superstars, and they had to do their best to win games. And with Mikal Bridges cooking, you're just gonna give him the ball and he can score. But now, after a full offseason together, we don't know what to expect. I mean, they can be good, and we'll see if they're good. But we can't put too unrealistic expectations on anybody, because this team is really mostly just role players, if we're being honest. Ben Simmons, we can't put expectations on him because of, well, everything that's happened. Mikal Bridges, I like Mikal Bridges, and I really think that he's going to be good, but I don't want to say he's going to be amazing because I don't want to be disappointed. I just want this team to do their thing. Of course, there's the comparisons with the 2019 Nets, where D'Angelo Russell came onto a team with a bunch of other role players, and they started cooking. They made the 6th seed. D'Lo was an all-star, and it was a great year. And they definitely could do that again. Honestly, I would love for them to do that again, and that's just about what I have been doing again in my predictions. But I'm not going to put any unrealistic expectations on them. I'm not going to say I expect them to do this. I might say I think they could do this, but I'm not going to say they have to do this or else they're horrible. You know what I'm saying? And now when you look at the rest, so yeah, that's the expectation I have for Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges, if he's just good, if he's Mikal Bridges, if he's doing what he was doing last year, then it's amazing. But if he's just doing his thing, helping the team win games, W. And then you look at the rest of this team. Spencer Dinwiddie, he's a guy who was here with that last Brooklyn Nets team, and he's now back, and he's just a guy who could be solid for you. He can help your offense a bit. He can help your defense a bit. He's taller. He's longer. He can help. He's Spencer Dinwiddie, man. Dorian Finney-Smith was a crucial part in the Dallas Mavericks' amazing defense when they made the conference finals run 2 years ago. And if he can help this team defensively honestly looks amazing. You have Spencer Dinwiddie, Mikal Bridges, Dorian Finney-Smith, Royce O'Neal, Nick Claxton, Ben Simmons. Like, defensively, that six right there is amazing. So, I know defensively this team got it, but we'll see what happens offensively. And even offensively still, Spencer Dinwiddie's a good playmaker and a good scorer. Bridges is a scorer. You got guys on this team who can catch and shoot. Cam Johnson's a great shooter. Dorian Finney-Smith is a great shooter. Lonnie Walker can be that sometimes. And I mean, you don't know what to expect from guys like Dennis Smith Jr., even Lonnie Walker, Darius Bazley, even Cam Thomas, who's here. You don't know what to expect from these guys, but if they can just add a little bit to what this team already has, then that's honestly a W. I could see this team definitely surprising a lot of people. I could see them. I'm not expecting them to, like I said, but I could see them doing it. I could see them doing some great things. And, of course, the defense is always going to be there. The offense is looking decent. So, when you look at it from that standpoint, this team looks really good. It just really depends. I think the team's ceiling depends on how good Ben Simmons is and how good Mikal Bridges is. Because if you surround those two with all these great role players, the team is looking nasty. The team is looking nasty. But if those two aren't at the level they're at, I mean, that's still great. They still got a solid team, and they could be a solid playing team. You never know. A playing appearance for this team would honestly be a W, at least I think. So, that's where I'm at. I said in my notes, Ben Simmons comeback, LOL. Tons of young talent. Lots of very good role players, like I said. Very good rookies. Noah Clowney not shown. But yeah, Dariq Whitehead and Noah Clowney, specifically Noah Clowney, he's an underrated pick who I did scout a bit. I mean, I don't expect him to do much, especially since he's probably not even going to be in the rotation. But I did like some of the stuff I saw from him when I was scouting him. So he could be pretty good. Then you got great defenders, mid-shooting, but not really mid-shooting. They actually have pretty good shooting when I think about it. Because Mikal Bridges is a good shooter, Cam Johnson a good shooter, Dorian Finney-Smith a good shooter, Royce O'Neal a solid shooter. And then after that it is kind of iffy if I'm being honest. But they do have the potential to be a pretty solid shooting team. And then I put Mikal All-Star Year question mark. And some players may get lost in the shuffle, which is true because there are a good amount of players in this team. There's even guys at the end of the bench like Day'Ron Sharpe, Cam Thomas, Armani Brooks, Noah Clowney, who might not get as much PT as some of the bigger guys in this team. And we'll see what happens. But I do think at the very least this is going to be a pretty fun team. At the very least. Maybe not as fun as a team like the Pacers, but definitely a solidly fun team. And I like it. But yeah, tell me what you think about the Nets, man. Down below in the comment section, tell me what you think. What's their ceiling? What's their floor? And what are you expecting from each of these teams? Or each of these players? Like I said, don't expect too much because we have seen what a lot of these players, specifically Ben Simmons, has gone through. We have seen the situations they've been thrown into, and we have seen the players they've been in the past. So we can't expect them to be too much, but we can expect them to be solid. At the very least, we can expect them to be solid. Or at least we can hope for them to be solid. We can hope for them to be solid. And that's all I really want. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, turn on notifications so you get notified about each new video I upload on this channel. And that'll be it for me today. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.